So you probably just picked up one of the brand new iPhone 17 or 17 Pros or maybe even the iPhone Air, and you're probably wondering to yourself what accessories are out there and what is there to choose from. Lucky for you, I have an abundance of different accessories that I've been playing with, testing out to see exactly which one I would recommend the most. We've tested cases, both thin and thick, as well as different chargers, different charging speeds, and most importantly, different MagSafe accessories. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's see which accessories are going to be right for your brand new iPhone. Let's get into it. But now, before we continue, if you do enjoy videos like this one where we go over some of the best iPhone accessories, definitely consider subscribing to the channel, especially because we have some more iPhone 17 content coming down the pipeline. But now let's get into the first category of accessories, which has to be cases, because 85% of iPhone users slap a case on their iPhones. So there are hundreds of case companies, and I do have a whole video which I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite cases overall, but I wanted to kind of narrow it down to just a couple here, and we're going to go with 3 different kind of categories in this case category, which is an ultra thin one, kind of like a regularly sized one, and then one ultra protective one. So the first one, which is probably going to be my most used one, is going to be the Pitaka Ultra Slim case. I like this because it's like a glorified skin, but it is rigid enough where it is relatively protective. It is made of aramid fiber and it's beautifully weaved together. It's much nicer than Apple's tech woven or fine woven case, which we already kind of tested out and reviewed. Also, a piece of advice here, if you get your phone from a carrier or even the Apple store, do not buy any of their accessories or any of their cases because they are wildly overpriced and you're better off getting something from Amazon. And again, just letting you know that that's definitely something to avoid. But the Pitaka Ultra case also adds some MagSafe magnets in there, even though it stays, at least I think it's only like 0.1 or 0.2 millimeters in thickness. I've used Pitaka cases for years, and I highly recommend them if you're into the ultra thin case form factor. The second case I'm going to recommend is going to be Andar's leather case, their Aspen. They're great at making leather accessories for Apple products, and their Aspen line has been around, I believe, since the iPhone 10 or maybe even older, and it's a premium oil wax leather. It has that great leather smell, and of course it's going to fit all your different iPhones perfectly. So if you are looking for a leather case for your iPhone, the one by Andar, their Aspen, is going to be the way to go, and technically T, shout out to you for making this awesome colorway. Another regularly sized iPhone case is going to be by Nomad. This is going to be their modern case. And just like the name entails, it is their modern version of their case. I love their clicky buttons and the kind of material that they use on there, which is beautiful to see. And this kind of like highlighter yellow is one of my absolute favorite ones. So if you guys are just looking for a sturdy, well-built case, Nomad has always been known for making great cases, and I've used those for years as well. And then lastly, I do want to bring up Rokform's Rugged case. I'm not one to put super thick cases on my iPhones, but I know there are people out there that still love to do that to make sure that it stays protected. And this is one of those dual layer cases that has a silicone inside and then a little bit more of a hard shell on the outside. It has the MagMax magnets for extra strong MagSafe holds. Even though you do have a thicker case, it still charges your phone and connects to all these MagSafe accessories no problem. And it's compatible with their RockLuck mounting system. If you are into biking or hiking, or if you like to mount this on a motorcycle, that's what they're definitely known for. So if you need a thick case that also has its own ecosystem, Rokform has it for you. So if you need a thick case that also has its own little ecosystem of accessories, Rokform is definitely an option for you. But those are the main cases and kind of those other subcategories that I would recommend. Now let's get into keeping this thing powered on and charging. And then 2 quick things before we continue. First, I'm going to leave these all linked down below in the order that I mentioned them with the latest price points as well. And then secondly, most of these accessories will have a counterpart for the older versions of these phones like the iPhone 16s, 15s, and 14s. Just something to keep in mind. But now let's get into the charging because there's something special about the new iPhone 17 and then also the iPhone 16s as long as you're updated to iOS 26 is that they support Qi 2.2 wireless charging. What that means is that you can fast charge up to 25 watts on iPhone 16 or newer as long as you're on iOS 26. So just be sure to look for this logo because Qi 2 is different from Qi 2.2. It's just a matter of charging speeds, and I have a whole video talking about Qi and their standards and the universality of it all, which I'll link down below. But the first one I'm going to recommend is going to be ESR's 3-in-1 Qi 2.2 CryoBoost charger. Now again, that's a mouthful, but I really like this one because of course it is a 3-in-1, so it charges your big 3. It is Qi 2.2, which means it gives you those 25 watts of fast charging, but most importantly, it gives you the CryoBoost. So the CryoBoost is just this internal fan that tries to keep your phone as cool as possible when it is charging at those high speeds, so it does sustain that 25 watts of charging for a little bit longer than any other traditional one because it does keep that phone cool to the touch. So that is an amazing one to have. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Everything comes in the box as well, so no power brick needed, an additional one. So if you need a MagSafe charger for your desk or your nightstand, this one's a great one. But then if you need more of a travel-focused charger or one that just folds a little bit more compact and isn't just kind of a big thing sitting on your desk, The Kuxiu X40 Turbo, which is one that I recently reviewed, is an amazing one to have. They were the first to release the Qi 2.2 wireless charging standard for the iPhone, and again, it's a 3-in-1 charger, but it folds all the way down into this tiny compact form factor that fits into any pocket, and the value you get out of this is insane. For $80, you get obviously the 3-in-1 charger, you get a beautiful USB-C braided cable, and then you also get a 45-watt charging brick in the box and a hard shell carrying case that all fits snugly together perfectly, and you can throw it in a package. And then also the X40 Turbo by Kuxiu, highly recommended for a Qi 2.2 fast charging, more travel focused wireless charger. But now if you want a charging battery bank that'll charge more than just your iPhone, but it's good to have alongside of it, EcoFlow's Rapid 27K 140 watt power bank is a no-brainer in my opinion. It has a beautiful LED screen, it has all the ports that you would ever need. It's 27,650 milliamp hours, you'll be able to charge pretty much anything at full speed, not only full speed, but also be able to then charge them fully, even if it is something like a MacBook Pro. And this is the most amount of milliamp hours and charging speed that you can get out of a TSA approved battery bank. So if you're looking for something that can charge your iPhone 17 and your MacBook and maybe your iPad simultaneously at full speed, this is a great option to have. And then lastly, if you want more of a MagSafe battery pack, something that's on the go, I'm not really going to recommend Apple's new one because obviously it only works with the iPhone Air. Unfortunately, even though that's probably the best one from a software standpoint, Kuxiu also makes a great solid-state battery. It's a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. It charges at Qi 2, which gives you 15 watts of charging speed, stays cool to the touch, recharges via USB-C, and you can charge up to 20 watt speeds if you hardwire in your iPhone to this MagSafe battery bank. So that's another one to consider. Okay, so now we have the protective cases out of the way, we have the charging out of the way. Now I want to get into the more fun stuff, which is these MagSafe accessories. MagSafe accessories are awesome because there's so many of them. You can do so many different things with them. There's multifunctional ones, there's Swiss Army ones, there's ones that just do one thing. So I'm going to start off with Moft. Moft has always been known for making these origami style multifunctional type of accessories for all Apple products, and there's two that I want to highlight here today. The first one is going to be the tried and true Moft Tripod Stand and Wallet. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is a MagSafe wallet. It only holds 2 cards because the first option here, the first function, is the fact that it's a tripod. So basically you slap it to the back of your iPhone via the MagSafe magnets and you turn this into a tripod, and you can have up to 8 inches of height on your iPhone if you are taking selfies, and it even acts almost like a mini selfie stick, which is great if you are somebody that likes to vlog themselves a little bit. So that one is just a no-brainer for me because of all the different functions that it has. Of course, it's a tripod, but it also acts as just a regular phone stand, and it does fit up to 2 different credit cards in there, or 2 cards in general. But then second, Moft just released their Snapfield Wallet. This is for those people that want a little bit more and they want the function or the main function to be the wallet itself and not really the tripod aspect. It says it only fits 3 to 4 cards, but I was able to fit 6 cards and no problem. And I'm talking about the thick kind of metal cards, and it has this little pull tab so you can pull out your cards very easily. There's also a little slot in here for a SIM card, micro SD card, and even a SIM ejector tool. And the cherry on top is that it's also a stand. So you can have it in TV mode, landscape mode, or portrait mode. Of course, it doesn't have the tripod functionality, but if you want something that's more of a wallet that just happens to also be a MagSafe wallet and MagSafe stand, this one is a no-brainer as well. And then, of course, these are USB-C iPhones, and you need USB-C to charge these things if you do want to hardwire them in. And I'm going to recommend 2 different cables. The first one is going to be for those power users that want to get more out of their cable than just charging. So if you want to have the fastest data transfer speeds, if you want to be able to take advantage of that, and if you also want to use it alongside maybe your MacBook that charges at 140 watts, the AOHI or AOHI, I think is how you pronounce it, is a 140 watt USB-C cable that supports PD 3.1 up to 140 watts of fast charging. It supports the fastest data transfer speeds that the iPhone allows, which is USB 3.0. That's only for the iPhone Pros. It's just a great, well-rounded and well-built cable. And then secondly, I'm going to recommend the static magnet cable. What I love about this is just how easily it kind of curls up. You don't need any Velcro, you don't need to like wrap it around and then tie it yourself with its own cable. It uses magnets to then put it into place and make it into a circular little package. And of course, it allows you to fast charge alongside all your USB-C cables, so that's a good one to have. And then one of my favorite MagSafe accessories and MagSafe tools has to be the Alumn, I believe it's a G4 MagSafe stand, and this is a 4-in-1. So basically what this has is, first and foremost, it's kind of like a fidget stand or a fidget spinner stand, which is very nice to see. It allows you to prop up your phone very easily, but then it also has a small, tiny ceramic blade that's a box opener, and it's based on springs. So it's never gonna just be out in the open, it can't really hurt you, and it's a very tiny, I believe it's only like 4 millimeters in thickness. It's perfect for opening up boxes, and it opens up everything very, very easily because it is made of ceramic. And then also it has a tiny little ruler in there as well if you do need to measure something that's about 1.5 inches or 2 inches. So that's by Alumn, and it's very well built and it has this kind of like cyberpunky aesthetic, which I absolutely love. And then last but not least, of course, we want to keep these iPhones clean, especially the display. So Whoosh, they've been around, I think, since the beginning of iPhones, or just since the beginning of Apple in general, and they're kind of just the best and most recommendable cleaning kit when it comes to just cleaning your screen and making sure that your iPhone is as clean as possible. They have a proprietary cleaning solution, a great microfiber cloth, everything is packaged in there very nicely and it's very easy to use. So Whoosh is the one that I would recommend if you're going to be cleaning your iPhone pretty regularly. Now that will just about do it for this video. I wanted to strictly focus on iPhone stuff. I could have recommended headphones and a bunch of other stuff like camera equipment for your iPhone. This is kind of just a holistic view of some of the best accessories that are out right now. And of course, the MagSafe ones are going to work with other MagSafe enabled phones. The cases, unfortunately, if you have an old case from an iPhone 16, it won't fit on the new 17s in classic Apple fashion. So you do need to get new cases because they're ever so slightly different. And of course, you now have the camera plateau or whatever Apple's calling it these days. So unfortunately, you do have to get new accessories from a case standpoint, but all the other ones should fit with no problems as long as it has a MagSafe connection. And then, like I said, as long as it's a regular USB-C cable. But those are the best accessories. Stay tuned for a huge case roundup that I'm working on. I have so many cases that I want to show off. These are just kind of my early favorites. But again, Pitaka, Andar, and Nomad are probably the most used, or the brands that I've used the most over the past maybe 5 to 6 years. So I would recommend those first, but there's a bunch of other ones that I definitely want to show off eventually. But that'll do for this video, everybody. Leave a comment down below if you picked up a new iPhone, what you're excited about when it comes to that new iPhone, and what your favorite accessory is that I mentioned here, or maybe one that I'm missing that I should check out. But that'll do it for this video, everybody. If you made it to the end, leave a little dolphin. And then definitely follow me on Twitter right here because we might be doing a quick little giveaway on some of these items. But be sure to check out one of our most recent videos if you want to see what iOS, iPadOS, and maybe even watchOS 26 is like. That'll do it, everybody. Until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace.